This is the second podcast on SketchBook Pro. Let's continue to investigate the screen in the app and see what's available to us. Start by clicking on the circle at the bottom, which brings up your brush properties. And then let's go to the top and click on the eye for information. And what I want to focus on here is the Help section. Right here is the Help button. So what I really like about this is, especially as you're getting going, this is a really nice feature just to familiarize yourself with some of the things that you can do with this wonderful app. So the first help item says just drag one finger on the canvas to paint, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So now I'm going to come down here and you can see again that there are several windows to look at. So I'm going to drag from right to left with my finger. Okay, so let's do that. Here's the second, pitch and drag with two fingers anywhere on the canvas. So if you wanted to look at your drawing a little closer, you just start with your fingers together and then you just expand them, just like the drawing showing here. Okay, let's continue to look. There's a three-finger tap that you can do to bring up the toolbar. And then we'll also experiment with moving your three fingers left or right, and that's also the same as a undo and a redo, and we'll demonstrate this later. Okay, each of these has some specific examples of, like 1 here, that's the gallery, 2, this is a new sketch, 3 is the information tab, and so on. So it's just explaining each thing that you see. The next part, this is what we demonstrated in video 1, how to resize or change the opacity of a line. The next one is talking about the tap brush icon, and we'll get into this one later, but that's in the top middle. You'll definitely love this one and become familiar with it as you use this app more. The next one over, that's the draw style. So if you want to go from a line to a shape and so on, you might want to change those tools, and that's right here. And by clicking on that, it brings up these extra choices. Gallery, when you want to save your sketch, you tap on Gallery and then you have the choice of saving it. So become familiar with that. Here's this three-finger, and if you swipe to the left with 3 fingers, it'll undo it. If you swipe to the right, it will redo it. That's very handy and very quick. If you don't like what you've just drawn, you just swipe 3 fingers to the left to undo your last drawing or your last coloring. In the next part here it says populate the palette with your favorite brushes or colors. So you tap, hold an icon to change its assignment. So if I wanted to move something around, you tap and hold, and then you can adjust accordingly. The radial menu says can be enabled in preferences, and you'll see at the bottom here there's a preferences tab. So if you wanted to turn this on, that's okay, or you can leave it off. It's entirely up to you. Layers are very important. The top right when you're drawing is a layer button, and this is how you add layers, and we'll get into this in a later video. And this is another example of just saying, okay, right here, this is number 1, and this is a new layer. Number 2, if you wanted to duplicate the layer. So it's just explaining what each piece is, but do become familiar with the help